Hey there guys, we've now got unit data for Phantom Thief Zahn, and in this video we'll be going over the kit and seeing how good of a unit he is. So we already know he is very expensive. We talked about that in a previous video. It's been talked about pretty much everywhere. Other people's videos, Discord, Reddit, Facebook, all that kind of fun stuff. So is the unit worth the price tag? So I'll give you the quick summary at the start of the video, then we'll go over the kit, but I think for myself, I'm not going to pull for him. He's missing some of the things that I really wanted to see in him, and they just, did not give it to him. Anyway, let's go through the kit. So the categories, first of all, doesn't have any whatsoever. He does have the classic categories, but he does not have any of the special ones that matter for Overdrive. If you know my philosophy on the game, my play style, my pulling style, I always pull units for the future, not for the past. And as we know, going forward, Overdrive is going to be what the game is mostly based around, which means you need special categories to activate those overdrives and fit onto those parties, like, Rebellion, Gathering, Elite Soldier, Guardians, all that kind of stuff. Those are what the overdrives are built around. Things like elemental tags are for leader skills and all, but you need the custom tags for overdrive. Zahn has none whatsoever. At the very least, they gave Celeste Elite Soldiers, which is good. It goes with, the Clive stuff and all that. But, Zahn didn't get anything. He didn't even get the Bonds category. The Bonds category is for, fan units. So, Malphase, Olive, Grand Couture, Ayaka, stuff or the Frost Ayaka. All the units that win fan design contest, they get the Bonds category. Our number one winner, Phantom Thief Zahn, doesn't even get the Bonds category. It's a worthless category, but it just shows you how they did the unit design on this unit. So there you go. Now, he does have CW support, which means he will fit on the leader skill of pretty much all the big name leaders. They seem to be always giving this to all the big leaders in the game. So that's nice. He should always get a leader skill. Spoiler, his damage is pretty bad, so it's not really going to matter that much. But he does get the leader skill. But no special categories, and if we ever get them, which, it seems like we're not going to, but if we ever get them, all the special stages, like crown stages, all the special trial missions, all the, the content of Brave Exvius that we have been missing for months, on the slim hope that we ever get that in the future, well, he can't come to any of it because he has no categories. He can't come to the Rebellion. He can't come to the Crystals. He can't come to the Guardians. He can't come to the Royals. He can't come to the, Evocation. All the special categories, Zahn has none of them. And I'm really harping on this point because it's so stupid to me that yet again, they just pretend like categories don't exist when making a global unit. And that is such a big deal because it locks him out of every single overdrive in the game. It locks him out of whatever. We're going to move on. So let's continue. His stats. He has 504 base stats. What is going on here? So 625 has been the baseline for premiums since God knows when. Quite a few of them have more than that. Yet they go backwards to 504, which is the 601 after pots, 625 after pots. But they go to 504. We're going backwards yet again. So, yeah, his damage is not that good in the first place, and that's part of the reason is he has lower than usual base stats for premium, but there it is. He does have good resistances and ailment immunities. That's a perk. Weapon selection, you're going to use daggers on him always, all that matters. He can use the Clash Armor, cannot use the Clash Helm. Yet another very small negative for him. You got to waste the Equip Helm materia. I mean, honestly speaking, he's not going to get the Clash Helm anyway because his damage is so low in the first place. But even so, I like to see units that have access to the best gear, and Zahn does not. But he does have, you can equip it on him if you want to. There's his dagger. And here's his kit. So he's got a 150 self-only Dark Amplify. And we'll skip right here. He's got the AoE Dark Amplify for the party at 100%, which is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's very nice to have. And then he's got a 200 Dark Imperil Magnus. And then over here, we're going to skip a little bit. He's got a 40% Dark Imperil Field. So grand total of 240 Dark Imperil. And he can buff the party's Dark Amplify by 100%, which is really good. It's really good. It seems to be basically just a replacement for both Chaos Bismarck and Jekt. The upcoming Jekt from FF10, he was the AoE Dark Amper. So they seem to be sticking both Chaos Bismarck and Jekt into Zaan's kit. And that's really good. That's really good. Don't get me wrong here. And then he has a bunch of his 7-star mirrors and the ability to share. But there's one thing they snuck in here, they took away, is Zaan. This is a 7-star. They changed this. This is his old mirror skill. He could copy LB damage buffs to himself. Now, he couldn't share these. He never could share these. But he could copy them to himself, meaning he could have, in Dark Visions, copied one of those NV plus LB damage buffs to himself, but not this one. They took that away, so he can copy all the old stuff except for LB buffs to himself. That was nerfed, taken away from this unit. Some other stuff in his kit: Grand Waylay, it's his old skill. He can chain Bolting Strike and Absolute Mirror of Equity. The old one could chain Stardust Ray. This one cannot. To be honest, that doesn't matter. No one uses Stardust Ray anymore, so whatever. He can Mirage only himself. He cannot Mirage the party whatsoever. Another, huge nerf. Remember the 5-star Zaan that we used to use Smoke Bomb to give 5-stack Mirage for the party? How many Dark Visions was that a core strategy of, where you would knock your Zaan down to low health and activate Smoke Bomb and use that? That was a big part of the old Zaan. Well, this Zaan can't Mirage the party at all. Not even 1 stack. That's pretty terrible. The old Zaan could do 2 stacks on his LB and 5 stacks with his unlock. This one, none. Nope. No Mirage for the party. Too bad for you. He does have some small Imperil fields for Ice, Lightning, Water, and Earth, which is neat. Down here, Self-Amplify for 60, the usual thing right there. Self-only Machine Killer, so that he can then share that, of course, with the party. So 250 Machine, which is... let's be honest here. This is literally the worst race they could have given for him, because when you pull for Zaan, you're going to get his card anyway that gives 250 Machine. So this would have been more useful for any other race in the game, but they're giving it to Machine. The only one you're basically guaranteed to get by pulling on his step up. I guess it's good if you get him with a ticket, because you're not going to have the card in that case. But really, of all the races, you pick the only one that's given to you on his banner. But okay, there it is. He's got a Modifier boost. I always hate these. I've told it before. I wish Modifier boost didn't exist, but here it is. So you've got to cast this for his setup. As we know from testing not too long ago, we know that you cannot precast this before morale is filled, or you'll get a damage nerf. You have to wait till morale is maxed out and then cast this, which is yet another negative for the unit. Why do they do this? Why do they do this? But there it is. You got to do a Modifier boost. Small Dagger Imperil there, but a bigger one right here. 2-use Magnus, 25 all-weapon Imperil, and 50 Dagger Imperil, and then 89 Attack Magic Spirit Break, and 90 Defense Break. That's obviously amazing. Probably the best part of his kit right here. Well, the sharing is good too, but right here, really, really good. 90% break in Dark Visions, and then 50 Dagger Imperil is obviously very, very high. You might be wondering, wait a minute, what's missing? What's missing? One of my favorite things from the 7-star Zaan is missing is his stealth skill. Yet again, remove caster for 1 turn, the 1-turn hide. How many of you use this 1-turn hide on Zaan to avoid a dispel, to avoid some kind of big attack, to, hide and preserve buffs, to maybe hide to not get AoE amplified because you didn't want to share that in the future? Like, the one-turn hide on the 7-star Zahn was such a core part of me using him on quite a few fights. Look up my old videos. You'll see so many different fights where I'll say, hide Zahn on this turn, hide Zahn on this turn, hide Zahn on this turn, to avoid some kind of incoming, usually a Dispel, but also sometimes when I would use like an AoE Imbue for a specific reason, and I didn't want Zahn to get it, I would hide him so he wouldn't get it. Stuff like that. For whatever reason, they took away that hide. Like, this is really frustrating me. They're taking away so much of the stuff from the 7-star kit that just would have been good on the Neo Plus kit. You know, the new Zahn cannot Mirage. He can't hide. He doesn't do... he can't copy LB buffs like he used to himself only. It's just like, why does this kit have to be so watered down? It frustrates me. I was really looking forward to Zahn, and when I saw that he was going to be 82,000 Lapis, I was like, this unit's going to be super amazing. He's got to be. He's going to be like Melissa, Sylvie, etc., all rolled into one, plus good breakers, and then like, I'm seeing so much of the 7-star kit just taken away, and it frustrates me. As far as his passives go, you know, he's got the typical thing, 200 Omni Killer if you've got him at EX2. Some stuff. He's a true dual wield for 8 times chain cap. He's got 1 stack of guts for whatever reason. You know, a lot of units these days have 2 or 3. He's got 1. Okay, let's, you know, go backwards yet again. And then he has a bunch of stuff locked to Clash of Wills only. So in Clash of Wills only, he can do 90% to all break, 180 to all imperils, and then 40% to all weapon imperils. So obviously that's very, very good. Basically, it's similar to Ellis Spirus's Magnus in Clash. In Clash of Wills only, he can do a 500 LB buff. So in Clash, he can do that, but not in Dark Visions. He does have a Vertex ability, which is concerning because I never want to see Clash of Wills another return. But this is kind of like hinting like maybe it will. So that's a whole different problem for a different video. We're going to go over that in a different video. He can imbue the party with Darga. We know his leader skill. And then his SLB is a 160 all in peril, 180 dark in peril, and then 85 attack and magic, 89 spirit, and defense. Yep, and there you go. And as far as damage goes, go look at the spreadsheet. So in Dark Visions, he is down here. Not terrible, about the same thing as Noctis and all that as a not 7-star, as a regular Neo. You know, I mentioned this in the previous video. The issue with that is very, very soon you're going to be pawning off your breaker duties to units like Cloud or Rain or Roquette or other units like that. Like, you're not bringing a normal Neo breaker anymore in the future. So the issue with Zahn being like old meta damage instead of current meta damage, which is, you know, less than half of the higher units, and then way less than that as we move forward into Cloud, it just becomes like, you know, is that worth 82,000? Answer that yourself. And then in Clash of Wills, his damage is good because he does have higher modifier and the 800 LB buff in Clash of Wills. It's up here. So, you know, Celeste is approximately 4. He's 2.7. So, that's what, like 65% of Celeste or something? And then, of course, as we go forward, you know, Neo Plus units are going to be, like, way up here. But it's good, and good. You know, I will say right up front, he's a good Clash of Wills unit. So there you go. So that's the unit. Basically, it's just a nerfed version of the 7-star unit with, like, Zahn and Chaos Bismarck mixed in. Damage is unimpressive. It's fine. It's not good. And the issue for... Oh, yeah, and he doesn't fit on any overdrives in the future, which is just like... I want to tear my hair out when I see them do this idiocy with categories, always. Like, why? Why do they do this with categories? They don't give him any to fit in the future. But there it is. So for me personally, am I going to spend 82,000 on Zahn? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, you're welcome to try to change my mind in the comments. But he is overall an okay unit. I would like to have him. He does have some really good stuff. Obviously, the killer sharing is really good. But that's one thing I wanted to address as well. So this killer stuff, a lot of people seem to have it in their head because Zahn can share and steal killers. That means you're just assumed to have a 250 killer to every race for the party. Here's the issue with that, and a lot of people don't really think a step ahead to realize this. In order for you to steal the killer, to share the killer has to exist in the first place. Most units these days, not all, but most units these days don't have self-only killers. Some do, but most don't. If they've got a killer buff, it's already AoE anyhow. It's very rare for recent units to have a self-killer for Zahn to steal. Now, there are vision cards for quite a few races. I think like 5 or 6 races have a vision card that if you pulled for that in the future, they are limited. They are gone at this point. But if you pulled for them in the past, you could use a vision card and Zahn could share that. And that's wonderful. But just keep in mind that for the most part, units either don't have a killer for Zahn to steal anyway, and if they do, it's usually AoE anyhow. And there are exceptions. Ibarra is probably the big exception. She's got 250 to like 7 or 8 races. That's obviously great for Zahn. Like if Zahn's there and Ibarra's in the party, it's good. Of course, when's the last time you've taken to Ibarra to anything? She's very outdated. Her damage is very low. But you get the idea. So just because Zahn can steal and share killers, that doesn't mean a killer is there to be stolen in the first place. So yeah, I think I'm going to use any tickets I get for Zahn. I'm going to do my video summons. If I get him, I will be extremely happy because I do want him, and he is a valuable unit for the things he can do. But the things he's missing that I was expecting are the reason I am not personally willing to go 82,000 Lapis for him. Because the number one thing, I said this in Discord yesterday, the number one thing I am looking for on Zahn is to have fun with him and use my old strategies of the hide. Being able to hide for one turn was such a cool, unique feature that Zahn enabled on so many old strategies. And them taking that away is just, for me, the straw that broke the camel's back. I can't get behind the unit that one of his core identities was taken away and he cannot one-turn hide. I swear, if you go to my videos, more than half of them using Zahn in the video, that hide is a vital part of the strategy that I used. And Zahn cannot do that. The new Zahn cannot do that. And for me, that's the deal breaker. That's the deal breaker. But I would still like to have him. I'm going to do video summons. I'm going to do tickets. If I get him, I'll use VIP coins as well, and I'll enjoy my EX1 Zahn. And if that means when eventually Clash of Wills comes back, I am unable to cap, that's so be it. So be it. I just will be unable to cap. I'll deal with it. But I'll still have 82,000 Lapis in the bank to use for units like Cloud that are compatible with future strategies. Like Cloud has, Overdrive. Cloud has categories. Cloud also has breaks. So I think I'll be fine without Zahn, but we'll see. We'll see. If by skipping Zahn, I shoot myself in the foot and I just, can't even do anything in the future Clash of Wills, oh well, I will have to deal with it. Okay, there's the preview for Zahn. Once servers come up tomorrow morning, I will have some videos for Vision World, and we'll see how well we can do in Vision World with the teams I have built. See you then.